Not gonna lie, summertime is one of our favorite times to do our crafts. So we grabbed this pine plank that we had put together and we decided to make it nice and smooth. We're sanding to about 320 grit here with the grain, mind you. And then we're gonna grab a paper towel and just wipe it all off. The reason we're wiping off all this dust is because we're gonna apply this stencil. And this is a big one. So we need to make sure that it's nice and clean. When we peel our stencil backing off, we like to roll it as close to the stencil as possible, just like this, using our fingertips. When we do it this way, the vinyl doesn't want to follow it, because you know what I'm talking about when you're peeling the vinyl backing off of a stencil. Like, the vinyl for some reason just wants to go with it instead of staying on the transfer paper. So this is our technique for making that work. Once we have it off, we're gonna apply it right in the middle, or as close to it as we can. Now, you see how there's bubbles that formed here in like the top right area? That's because we started scraping the stencil and pressing it down from the edges. You wanna work your way from the center outwards, and that's how you can avoid any bubbles or folds in your transfer paper or your vinyl. Once the transfer paper is removed, we throw that in the trash, and then we shake up our Scorch Marker. The reason we're using a Scorch Marker on this project is because we want this to have like a really cool boho rustic wood burned look to it. And that's the look that we get when we use stuff like pine. You can see the wood grain on pine is like, it's really prominent. Like you can see the lines in the wood. And that leaves an effect on the burn if you were to use this product over it. So we're making sure everything's filled in. And then we're gonna preheat our heat gun while we take off the vinyl. The heat gun that we're going to use is that big yellow thing that you'll see in a minute. It's 1800 watts and it gets up to like 1500 degrees. I think it's really hot. But the trick to make this effect look really good is to preheat that heat gun so you can come in with hot, fast heat. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment once we get the vinyl off. You want to get rid of all of it, by the way, because you don't want it to melt. Here's the heating part. This is my favorite. This is where the design starts to come to life. You can see how the wood grain is starting to show through a little bit. That's exactly the look we were going for. It just has this really cool boho chic, wood burned, rustic kind of look that we really like. And so we couldn't be happier with the results. You can see that my wife is applying a little extra heat to the areas that didn't get as dark as she wanted. And this is what it looks like before we add our finish. We could stop right there and this would be a wonderful project, but instead we want to use our Scorch Marker finishing oil to protect, seal, and make the design pop a little bit. So we applied a generous portion and then just started wiping it in. You can apply as little or as much as you want, and once you're done, just let the design dry. This Scorch Marker food safe finishing oil is a great addition to any woodcrafting project. And that's it. We're really happy with how this turned out. What do you think?